Hey guys, welcome to For the Noobs, How to Build Your Sealed Deck. So I'm going to go in steps here, but Moto does some of the steps for you, so I'm going to talk through the first two steps pretty quickly. Step 1, open up your packs, which Moto has done. Step 2, sort by colors, okay, which Moto has also done. They've piled all of the multicolors by himself. A key note when sorting by colors, you can look at cards and say, oh, you know what, that card's not really too great. I don't think I'm going to be playing it, and you can make a third pile or a secondary pile of that color where you remove that. So for example, I rarely, very rarely, will ever play Destroy the Evidence. So when I'm sorting my black cards, I would take them out and just move them away so that I can see through all of the black cards that are playable. Okay, so let's continue to do that now. So step 2 or step 3, sort the junk. A good thing to note on Moto, though, what I'm going to do first, which in real life I would make a mental note of, on Moto I like to sort by rarity just to see if I have any bombs. Now remember, you win games by having bombs. This is not the greatest of opens. This is a phantom event, by the way, which means I won't be keeping any of these cards anyway. But when you open up Experiment, it's alright. Hypersonic Dragon's pretty good. Rest in Peace is crap. 2 lands is nice for fixing. Dreadbore is a pretty good removal spell, but doesn't seem like too amazing. So I'm going to unsort I'm going to resort by color now, which is a lot easier online. Just keep a note on what you're doing. Now for step 4, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be pulling cards I would play from each color and putting them into their own pile. So I'd probably play this, maybe, definitely, probably not. Think I'd play this, depends on how many gates I had, but I usually play that, would play that, and play 2 judgments. Now being not an expert at the format, but knowing some things, I know over here I have some really strong Celestia cards, so that's something I'm keeping in mind as I'm building. Okay, I'd play this, probably not, possibly. Paralyzing Grasp is playable, but I'm probably not playing it. Okay, yes, probably. So right now all I'm doing is I'm taking cards that I know I'd usually play. This becomes style preference, and as the set goes on, some things are more playable than others. Some things have less value, like I know Mizium Skins is a playable, but it's way later on in life in the choices. So for now I'll just pull it, and if I decide I want to go blue, then I might consider it again, but currently I'm not going to mess with it. Okay, usually not. Sometimes, yes. Usually not. Yes. Sometimes, usually not. Okay, so right now I'm looking at my black, and outside of having 2 Slum Reapers, an Ogre Jailbreaker, which we have 1 gate, it's not on color either. The black doesn't really look too strong. We do have a launch party, so we have decent removal in black, so I'm keeping that in mind. I'm not going to put it in the pile of, oh no, I don't really want that yet, but I'm not 100% sold on it either. That's fine, good card, pretty good, excellent, playable, probably not, playable, sometimes playable. Okay, and now playable. I'm just gonna pile these since I think I might be going green-white together. Never. Playable, usually playable. Playable if I'm going black. Playable, usually not. Playable if I have a lot of populate. Okay, now what's gonna happen is I have to see all of my multicolor cards, and I have to factor in my lands that I have. Like I have a promenade that makes things better. I have this steam vents and this blood crypt. So splashing isn't terrible. Okay, Scorpion's playable, 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 playable. So all these cards are really good in like a Jund frame. Excuse me, and I do have a pretty decent Jund deck, so I don't know if that's going to be better than the other thing that we were talking about. No, no, yes. Let's put these over here. Yes. Don't know, to be honest. Yes. No, usually not. Sometimes. Always. 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 Usually. And Keyrune, if I was playing as it, I would play here. Okay, so now we're up to step 5, which is starting to make cuts. This is usually the hardest step, because I look at all these cards that are playable. I have all my cards essentially playable, except for, I'd say, about 15. And some of them are even playable. So this just takes experience. Like, I know Annihilating Fire is really, really solid. I know my color preference. Excuse me, I know, what I like to be playing. So I'm going to take these cards and put them over in white because they're pretty strong. And now I'm looking at my green and white, and I'm thinking, well, I could have a pretty good green-white deck. I'm also seeing if I could splash anything. My blue doesn't look terrible, but I don't think it's the strongest. So I'm going to put it up here for now. It does have some good tricks and good flyers, but I'm going to put it up here because right now it's currently really kind of blocking out what I'm doing. I mean, it does have our one bomb as well. So we'll consider this guy either blue or white. He's usually better in multicolored. And then I'm going to put this stuff up here as well. And currently I'm going to try to build the Jund deck. And I'm going to leave the Frostburn Weird in. So this is 31 cards. That's way too many. So now what I have to do is I have to sort again what I'd like to be doing. So I want to make sure I have certain parameters when I'm playing sealed. One is, the first thing is I usually have 16 to 18 lands. Now if I'm playing 3 colors, I want to make sure I have what's called fixing. I want to make sure I have lands that I'm not going to end up getting color screwed on. I might even play 4 colors with this deck. RTR is difficult to teach people how to play sealed, so I apologize if all of this seems muddled and confusing. I'm trying to make it not that way. But the main point of this is actually this part, is when we get to the deck, how you should build it. So that's what's most important. Okay, so let's look at this. We have some good tricks early on. We have 21 creatures currently. We have a Dynacharge. We're looking for synergies now. So we have a Dynacharge and we have a Goblin Rally, which is a pretty good synergy. We have a Goblin Rally and a Chorus of Might. We have some good stuff. So this deck seems like it's going to be pretty badass, but I have way too many cards in it right now, and it also doesn't go over the top at all. And I'm also considering playing this and this in it as well. Okay, so and probably the Keyrune. So I'm tending to be really greedy here. Where it might just be that the green-white is just the way to go. It's just my green is not really that great to support the white. So that's what, made me go in this direction. So now I'm going to look at things and see what's definitely awesome in my deck and what's, possible goes to the sideboard. Centaur's Herald's not bad. Electrickery is more of a sideboard card. Dynacharge is okay for now. Not huge on Swindler, but if we're like a beatdown deck, we want to have as many 2-drops as possible. We have a ton of 3-drops, which is good to keep in mind. I'm going to pull down the spells right now because I want to have a certain number of creatures. Okay, we're just sorting once again, seeing where we're at, seeing what cards look weakest in our deck. I'm actually going to put this in as well so that we could see where we're at. Upon looking at this, I honestly don't even think that green is that strong. So maybe I want to play black, red, blue. instead of the green. So what I'm going to do now is, after looking at it, I've decided, alright, green, see you later. You're good, but I don't think you're great. Like, the reason I was holding on to the green in the black is these two crocodiles, which I tend to like, and this scorpion. And we had some decent tricks in Chorus of Might and Giant Growth. Okay, so, and slime molding's good too. So the green's not awful, but now we're much closer to having a real deck, and we can bring in some of these nice blue playables as well. So Dynacharge seems pretty good. Fairy Imposter's nice. Stealer, Runewing. I think I might want this as a 6-drop. It kind of finishes games. So now we're sorting once again. We're still on the sorting step. So if you feel like I've gone past that, I just want to let you know we're still on the sorting step. Our black and red creatures and spells are pretty good. So that's where we're at. An epic experiment. Okay, so we currently need to cut 3 cards, and I just want to make sure I'm not like overlooking anything. So the next step, I think we're up to, I don't know, to be honest, I think it's 6, is to pick a deck that you want to play and then re-look through all of the sideboard cards you left out. For example, Electrickery sometimes leads to blowout, so it's something I might want to consider. Also, I have a whole bunch of blue cards that I'm not currently playing, and they might be better suited for this deck than the other ones. So I know Electromancer is pretty good. Vassal Soul is going to be too hard to cast in this deck. Fairy Imposter is good. Doorkeeper is an alternate win condition with 2 Lobber Crews and a Jailbreaker, but I'm not going to mess with that. And Action Injunction's good. Stealer of Secret's good. Runewing's good. Syncopate's good. So now we have to say, well, with all these good cards, are we doing the right thing? Are we playing the right colors? So now I'm going to resort and make my final decisions. So, Fairy Imposter's good, but not great. I mean, it does have some synergies. This is the card I'm talking about. Has some synergies. It could bounce a Void Wielder. It could bounce these Slum Reapers. So it's something to consider. However, I tend to like to play a red-black style deck with a blue splash. And let's just double check if this epic experiment's even going to be good. Exile the top X cards of your library for each instant or sorcery with converted mana. This card's not going to be good. So we're going to make a cut here and just say bye, epic experiment. Okay, my next card that I'm considering cutting is Dynacharge, but since we have some like little guys earlier on, it makes it really pretty strong, so I'm going to put that down here. Same thing with Electrickery. Electrickery is probably not that amazing in this deck. Neither is the Swindler, especially if I'm going to be trying to play the Electromancer, but I think the Swindler is going to be much easier to cast, and the Electromancer really doesn't make many of my spells cost much less, so I don't think it's going to be worth it. So I'm going to cut the Electromancer. I'm also going to cut the Inaction Injunction, although it's pretty sweet. I don't think I want to be a blue deck. I think I want to be a black-red deck splashing blue for Hypersonic Dragon. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Dreadbore is fine. I think I'm going to cut this Swindler. This is fine. This is fine. Currently, we're also debating this Fairy. Blue, this is good. See, like, our blue is just, our 3-drops are sick. That's why. This is probably getting cut. Jailbreaker is really not reliable with 1 gate, so I can see cutting him. Right now, I'm just pulling down all my extra cuts. Void Wielder is nice, but if I'm not going to be a strong blue deck and I'm just really playing for Hypersonic Dragon, then I don't think I want to. And Keyrune's not going to be great if I'm just going to go Rakdos and try to splash for Hypersonic Dragon. So let's make some cuts. I think we cut the Jailbreaker over everything. Runewing is easy cut. Fairy Imposter is pretty easy. And if that's the case, I'm not playing this, I'm not playing this. And now I'm at 23. So now I'm at 21. I can go back and quote unquote cherry pick my 2 favorite cards. So I'm going to look back at my red, not going to play this, not going to play this. I'm going to look back at my black. I really only see Ogre Jailbreaker, maybe a Perilous Shadow, but not too great. And then I look back at my blue, and now if I'm going to play the blue, I probably want to play the best blue cards that I can play. So, you know, I do definitely like the the Void Wielder, but I have a lot of 5-drops already, so I'm not super sold on that. The Keyrune's not great, but it does speed us into an earlier Hypersonic Dragon, so I think I'll play that, and I think I want one more creature because of the fact that I am going to try to run this Dynacharge, and playing too few creatures is not amazing. So what's the best creature in this deck? Probably not many. I could see playing the Perilous Shadow here, though. Alright, so now we're up to step 8, I believe. We have our deck, we're looking at it, and most importantly, the thing I wanted to talk to you about was making your bell curve, or your curve. When you play a sealed pool, you don't want to start off with too many 1-drops or too many late game drops. The reason for this is because you have to realize that if you draw 1-drops late game and they don't do anything, example, let's say I drew this Judge's Familiar on turn 10, it would be really weak in comparison to what other people might be drawing. However, if you have too many late drops, you're going to, end up drawing them early and you may get screwed. So what you want to do is you want to have a good amount of 2-drops, especially if you're an aggressive deck. And most of your plays want to be in the 3-drop area or the 4-drop area. So our curve looks pretty nice. I would like another creature down here. I think I'm going to play the Swindler over the Jailbreaker, since we are the Perilous Shadow, since we are trying to play the Dynacharge. Okay, so your curve has to look really nice, right? It looks like a bell curve, like in high school math. I'm sure if you play Magic, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now for step 9, we really want to bring in all of our fixings. So we're bringing in our 2 lands. We're going to play this Izzet Guildgate. I don't think we're going to play this because it's kind of slow. And we only have, 2 technically blue cards. I guess you could say the Frostburn Weird. Okay, and then we're going to add land. Now what happens is on Moto you can just hit suggest, and usually it's pretty accurate. I tend to bump it up or bump it down a little bit. So this seems really fine. And now what happens with Moto is it'll give you the right amount of lands. Please make sure when you're building a sealed at your local shop, you end up with the right lands in the right amount of time. Tip 10 is make sure all of your costs are accounted for, meaning that you have enough black sources to play your black cards, you have enough red sources to play your red cards. If you're splashing, you have enough lands for a splash, and things of that nature. And my final tip is to please make sure that you have a 40-card deck. If you have less than a 40-card deck, you're going to end up putting yourself at a disadvantage. If you are too few cards, you'll be cheating, and if you're too many cards over, you won't draw your best spells. Okay, so this has been the MTG Noob. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or need any clarification, please let me know, and I will answer your questions or comments in the comment section of the video. Thanks for watching. Please check out the mtgnoob.com.
Hey guys, MTG Noob back, and I am letting you know that the draft or the seal that we did, in retrospect, although I feel the For the Noobs video came out really good, I just wanted to let you know that I probably should have went Selesnya. I was kind of under the clock trying to get you a ton of information in a short period of time, so I hope you understand that the sealed itself did not go amazingly, as I clearly chose the wrong colors, and that can really be a tip in itself. Is after you're done with your seal pool, make sure you check back and look over and see what you could have done better. Okay, so thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Please check out the mtgnoob.com and leave any comments in the comment section.